This is Morten from INKISH TV. We are still here at Imprint and ICE in Munich, and it's quite exciting actually. We have met a lot of interesting people, and there's so many things going on that I don't know anything about. This I know a little bit about, but then I talked to Volker, and then you realize that I don't know anything, right?
Well, if you say so, Morten.
But great to see you. You just made a fantastic explanation of some of the technologies that you are showing here at ICE. And maybe you can just tell me a little bit, because I mean, one of the things that you told me that you are known for is basically that you have a quite broad range of UV solutions that fit different types of needs, right?
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about what you do?
Sure, with pleasure. I mean, one of the main core points about IST is we are not just supplying a piece of equipment. We are always had the intention and always try to actually deliver a complete solution into the market. The solution does not mean only one item. It is very often a combination of various different things. When IST started, we said we need to do everything by ourselves. We still do that today. We do our own lamps, power supplies, reflectors, etc. But in the last couple of years, things changed. There had been new things coming into the market, a lot of embellishment. For many years, we all liked high-gloss surfaces, and we see a perfect example here. We had this tendency since a few years of very matte surfaces. People like matte, why ever? My age, well, we are used to the other thing, but today everything is matte. So what do we do? What do we provide here? We have combination of different technologies. We have the LED-UV curing technology, which is what we call used for a pre-gelling. It's a pre-hardening of such a coating. Then we are actually irradiating the surface of the coating by an Excimer lamp. Excimer means excited dimer. It's an artificial wording actually. In a very narrow wavelength, 172 nanometers, which does not cure, which is maybe a surprise. It's actually building a microstructure on the surface, and this microstructure makes it actually matte. Matte means nothing different than light coming from any source is not reflected in a direction, it's spread out. Yeah. So we see it as matte. So this Excimer lamp does the matting, but it's not doing the curing.
And it's funny because I have never seen that type of lamp before. When I look at it, you typically see, I mean, you see, of course it's a lamp, but you also see that it has this surface. And basically you had said to me, it is the surface of the grid that basically makes sure that when it emits the light to the surface, basically it makes these kind of, I think you wrote, microfoldings into...
Microfolding, correct. Yeah. It has an impact on that. And what needs to be understood, the Excimer alone would not cure. Yeah. The Excimer just makes the matting effect. Yeah. And it's wonderful. It looks great. And the final curing happens at the end by the usage either of a classic medium pressure UV lamp. It could also happen by an LED lamp if the coating formulation fits well. Or it could be done by a different technology, by electron beam curing. Yeah. So all that can be supplied by IST. Yeah. We always wanted to ensure that we have the full process understanding. It's not supply a system. It's the process understanding. It's a complete solution which allows us then to create a sophisticated total solution, what we bring to our customer.
But that was also what I mean, I knew about the IST, of course, and I see your products in many finished products, so to speak, right?
Yep.
But what was a positive surprise coming here is seeing that you're so focused on that you have the right technology for the right application.
Correct.
And one of the things I think that, you know, some people because everybody is now talking about LED as a more energy efficient curing than having the mercury based, but you do both. And I take that you do both because there's an aftermarket, but also because there's some applications you can't do with UV yet, LED yet, right?
Absolutely right. I mean, LED UV is a different light source. It's still UV curing. LED UV has a tremendously growing market share due to the advantages of LED. And IST is since many years in the LED UV business as well. With our partners, with Integration Technologies, formerly today IST INTECH, and we have the biggest range in the whole industry about LED systems. But as you say, fully right, it needs to fit the purpose. And LED has great advantages and has also some areas where the classic lamp does a better job.
Will you say that, sorry to interrupt, will you say that I mean, obviously with the big demand for LED UV, you see a lot of development in this, but is there still a lot of innovation and R&D also in the more conventional UVs? Or?
Let me say, as conventional UV, of course, had been developed over the last 40 years, the innovations are getting smaller. Versus on the LED UV, this is much more really system development.
Kind of in the beginning, right? Still.
There is still one thing, I mean, people today talk about LED and internet. Looking a few years back, people always talked about how about migration, how about product safety, and all those things are still extremely important topics. So we try to bring those things together, and we do that, and we are able to bring the right solution into the industry.
Another thing I also paid attention to when you presented the products to me just before was also that we spoke about you have the narrow web, you have the mid web, you have offset, you have digital, you have like now even the web offset machines are exchanging gas to be using. I mean, it must give you a lot of potential in the market with such a diversity of sizes as well, right?
This is always one of the challenging areas of IST because if you have 100 markets, you need to serve 100 markets. But on the other hand, absolutely right, we have a huge variety, and the example which you just mentioned is a perfect example. A commercial newspaper press being converted to LED UV because of the current unfortunate gas situation. And with the funny effect that the customer realized the print quality improved like hell.
I was just about to say it because you can have higher densities and basically even on relatively low quality paper, you can still boost the image on the existing presses to a different level. When you go to the market and meet customers, you work with sales, so you meet customers. I'm just wondering, people that have used, let's say, mercury-based UV for a long time, are they difficult to convince about changing, or is that not the discussion you see right now? Or?
No, it's. I would say there is rarely a customer discussion without this discussion being part of the discussion. It is actually good because the majority of our customers understand very well their own process. And if we talk today to our customers which are already using the principle, the lamp-based technology, they know what I talk about, they understand it. And it is very often the first question, how much can I save? How much energy do I save? Will I be able to produce my product? And very often it comes to the situation where we say, we can technically do it. We have all the solutions available, but let us have the partners on board. And the partners in that regard is the chemistry. It is the ink, the coating, whatever needs to be actually cured.
Even the materials, right?
The materials. And that has a tremendous impact. So everybody, first intention is always energy. And after going deep in the discussion, I exactly had this discussion this morning with a customer here on the booth. And he came here with a big question mark. And he left with a full understanding what needs to be done to ensure that this change makes sense, technically sense, commercially sense. And that, at the end of the day, is our
And did you convince it? Did you convince it?
He knows now the track which we need to go forward.
Okay.
If it will happen, depends really on not only us. The system is there. We can do that tomorrow if he wants. Well, takes a bit longer maybe.
A few more days.
Yeah, but in reality, it is. We always said we are not trying to just sell for heaven's sake.
No.
We want to ensure that our customers, at the end of the day, are successful and earn the money with the system. To come back and back.
But that is also, I mean, that makes sense because you said that with so many modules, you're not like really in serial production. You make the applications and the machines fit to the customer, right? And you even showed some of the films on the background where you see we didn't talk about them, but they seem to be very, very complex solutions.
Absolutely.
And I take that now we spoke about the chemistry and the substrates, but if you have, let's say folding carton where you have a lot of ink coverage on a very heavy substrate, that is another challenge compared to if it's a label, for example, right?
It's a completely different challenge. So instead of trying to sell the same piece all the time, we are trying to do it much more on a technical, a little bit deeper level, to have a platform how we build the systems. But we are able to supply systems for let me say, a very narrow distance between the light source and the web or the sheet or whatever, up to 100 mil. As a distance, and that's done by guiding light, so we have different technologies suitable for the application.
Last two questions, I think. Volker, when I see, for example, IST on machines in the printing company, for example, I don't know if it's true, but sometimes I have an idea that it's an OEM relationship where you work with some of the vendors and you pre-install some of the curing devices directly. Is that also part of how you work? Or?
That's part of our business, but that's not the whole, not the full range. In some areas, especially in sheet fed offset, there we are really serial supplier to one of the biggest brands, which is commonly known. I mean, you see a lot of Heidelberg machines equipped with our systems. That's a typical OEM business. On the other hand, especially here in the converting industry, we have big converters with very well-known brand names which are working very intense with us. And that's what we want to achieve, that those companies say to their OEM machine supplier, this is the equipment which I want to see in my machine. That's what we want to match. That's always the goal.
And I think you do. But I have, of course, one question that I need to ask you, and that is, of course, like with all the new things in inkjet and digital, is that a good opportunity for IST, or is it just something you have forgotten all about?
No. That's it's.
I was just joking about it.
It's a good opportunity, as you say. I mean, also there the same thing counts. You need to offer something which fits the market at the end of the day, and also in inkjet. I mean, coming from the very low power LED systems, which we have thanks to the colleagues in the UK, up to dedicated Excimer lamps, even in this digital industry.
Even in digital as well?
Look at today highly embellished tobacco packaging.
Yeah.
It's the best example.
Yeah.
Done on those machines with absolute high-end technology in it.
Yeah.
It's a narrow machine, it's a small machine, but it's the technology which matches.
So it sounds to me like IST is ready to address almost any customer that have any good work for you guys, right?
Well, at the end of the day, we are a company, and a company needs to earn money. This is our intention, to be very truthful, and certainly we are carefully looking into which markets do we attack, where do we want to make our business. We could do much more as we do. We have to also balance out and say, is this a one-time business? Yes, we do one-time business, but one-time business, you invest a lot, so you need to get something back for that. If it's something which has the possibility to develop into a bit more of a series, then you handle it different. So we can do everything, but we do not do everything. We select a bit.
Sounds like a plan.
It is a plan.
Thank you, sir.
Pleasure to meet you.
Likewise.
And wish you a great day on ice.